But one bit of speculation, I wonder if Nigel's done this simply because he's worried about Trump. Of course, famously, he was going to go to the US, probably earn an awful lot of money working with and for Trump pre and post election. Has he made this decision maybe because he thinks that Trump is perhaps not going to be as successful now, given the outcome of the court
I would
case?
think, given what we've seen to the polls in America and in terms of donations to Donald Trump, I have to say, I would have thought Trump was more likely to win as a result.
Well, no, maybe,
of his
but from a
conviction
criminality
than
point
anything
of view, does it hamper Trump's ability to kind of succeed?
Weirdly, I think he's the Teflon presidential candidate, and that nothing touches him on that front. Everyone's made their minds up on Donald Trump already. The thing about Nigel Farage, he said yesterday he is going to run in Clacton. I'd messaged him while we were on air. We spoke to Richard Tice on the show. He said, "Is he going to run? Is it going to be in Clacton? You know, what's going to happen?" Clacton was the seat he'd been looking at. He thought he needed a 6-month run up to it. He says he's been walking around. He's getting, basically, the people have demanded that Nigel Farage, But the thing is, if you see the reaction, it's one of those things I found walking around with politicians like Boris Johnson, when you go, it is bizarre. I mean, I'm a cynical old hack. I've been around all these people for years, and it's very noticeable that some politicians have just got that thing where people want to come up, they want a selfie with them, they want to shake their hand.
It's a charisma. It's incredible. I mean, and I was going to say, I think Farage has got the Boris factor.
Can I tell you something? My 50th birthday party, which there were various different political people of different political persuasions, because I'm weird like that, and I can remember Nigel Farage turned up, and he's in his blazer. And he's got his cigars, and he's wearing his Union Jack shoes. No, not tweed blazer. No. He's got his stripy blazer on. It was a summer party, and my bunch of Ramonas, because I live in Ramona Central in North London, they turned up. I mean, they were half the family as well, Ramona, spitting tacks. I mean, literally like this. And by the end of the evening, and I mean every single person had got a selfie with him.
I bet they,
every single person, which I thought was really, really funny. But this is the thing. In terms of what it changes, though, look, Nigel Farage's argument is Labour are going to win the election. He said yesterday, it's a foregone conclusion. There's no way back. And we'll talk about that new poll that Sky News have got as well on that. In which case, you've got a free vote. You're not like, it's not going to be marginal, as in, well, if my vote might be the difference, if I were a Tory, how would I vote? He's saying it's a foregone conclusion. So you've got a free pass. You can vote how you really want, is his argument. Do you think that will mean that more people will vote who wouldn't have otherwise? Do you think more Tories will move over to reform?
Yeah, funny enough, I saw on Twitter yesterday lots of people, I don't just mean one or two, but lots of people saying now that he is standing, that's revitalised them insofar as their support for reform.
Yeah.
And look, magnanimous as it is, I think, for Richard Tice also to kind of stand down and do the bigger, greater thing, frankly, regardless of how that happened.
There aren't many politicians or would-be politicians do that. I think you should get some credit for that.
Done it for the greater good of the party and indeed the country, and I think he should take some credit for that. So yeah, look, and Clacton, by the way, I mean, look, what a pick. I mean, they obviously
70% leave.
70% Brexit, as in leavers, 24,000 Conservative majority, but he obviously stands a very, very good chance of winning it. But I think, as he said in The Sun, Nigel Farage, on Saturday, I think it was, that he believes that this is as much about 2029 as it is 2024. In other words, watch the potential disintegration of the Conservative Party. He then comes in and takes them over.
Well, I was wondering about whether or not actually the implication of this is not just about having, if he does win the Clacton seat, and say Joe Triman was on Mike's show earlier, and basically saying, look, he's got a really good chance, probably best chance yet. That said, they are going to throw, Labour and the Tories would throw the kitchen sink at Clacton to try and stop him winning. That's what they do. There'll be other candidates standing. No doubt our website has a list of the candidates, although they're not confirmed yet, I think, for any of the seats yet until Friday. But I do think there's an element where, you're in that situation where if Nigel Farage is in Parliament, is he going to be as, should we say, an actor the same way he was in European Parliament, the Brexit Party, which was, let's face it, as a Brexit voter, hilarious to watch, and in terms of just sort of being, just basically sort of thorn constantly in the side of all the Europhiles. But or is there a possibility that if he's an MP, he could actually try and swap parties and try and take over the Tory party. Now, not doing a deal with the Tory parties is different from destroying the Tory party, taking over the Tory party, which is what he's talked about as well.
See what happens in the next few days and weeks. If indeed some Conservative former MPs that are standing as Conservatives defect, if there is the absolute wipeout of the Conservatives on July the 4th, as is largely expected, we may well see former Conservatives moving to Reform. Because, of course, Reform would say they are the Conservatives. They are the party of natural conservatism.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Or it could all be a complete damn squib. He doesn't get in. Latest poll suggesting, you know, Reform are likely to win any seats, including Lee Anderson, who crossed the floor from the Tories. In which case, you know, it could all just be a flash in the pan. But, you know, it keeps us lively, keeps us talking about it. I want to know from you, though. Do get in touch. Nigel Farage has pledged to lead a political revolt. Is this the start of a political revolution? He's talking about being the new leader of Reform UK, running for a seat himself. He's called for zero net migration. That would still mean hundreds of thousands of people coming to live in this country every year, by the way, because hundreds of thousands leave. Are we getting the best 100,000 in and the worst 100,000 out? That, my worry is we're losing a good people, and are we necessarily getting in the right people in?